I had a dream last night. I was walking through a field hospital, not Wuhan, not Congo, somewhere else entirely. I was wearing something over my face, something that made the breathing feel mechanical, deliberate. And I was selecting the patients, not treating them, selecting them.
Welcome, curious soul, to Tales of the Tattered Book. I'm your host, the keeper of the book, guardian of an ancient tome whose pages fill themselves with stories of terror and wonder. Each week, as midnight approaches, this mysterious book reveals new tales of horror, some pulled from history's darkest corners, while others seep through cracks in reality that most will never perceive. As I open this arcane tome, remember, knowledge comes at a price, and some truths are better left unspoken. Tonight we continue our tale of plague and pattern, of ancient evils that traverse centuries wearing the masks of healing. In part 2 of the Monatto, we follow Dr. Marco Ricci deeper into a mystery that spans from Venice's plague-ridden canals to the sterile corridors of modern medicine. Some truths, once glimpsed, demand to be followed to their bitter end. Some patterns, once recognized, cannot be broken. Let the story begins.
September 8th, 1665. My dear Antonio, forgive this strange correspondence to one who has long since departed this world. I discovered your journal among the possessions of a fellow Italian physician who perished last week. Father Giuseppe at San Bartolomeo gave it to me, thinking I might find comfort in the words of a countryman who faced similar trials. Your account of the pestilence in Venezia has disturbed me greatly, not because I doubt your observations, but because I fear I begin to understand them. London burns with plague, as your city once did, and I find myself a powerless witness to these events. I write to you because I have no living soul who might comprehend what I observe. In your pages I found a kindred spirit, another physician driven to document the inexplicable. Perhaps in setting down these words, I might find the clarity that eludes me. Your colleague in medicine and confusion, Giovanni Ramusio. September 18th, 1665. My dear Antonio, I have read deeper into your journal, and your description of the solitary Monatto haunts me. Yesterday, Dr. Whitmore at St. Bartholomew's spoke of troubling rumours regarding a lone physician operating in his ward. My official position allows me to investigate such matters. Tomorrow, I shall visit St. Bartholomew's myself, hoping to find nothing more than exaggerated gossip born of desperate times. October 1st, 1665. My dear friend, what I discovered at St. Bartholomew's has shaken me to my core. Sister Mary Catherine showed me the patient lists. Every soul treated by this mysterious physician has perished. Among them, I recognized names of patients and friends I had personally tended, people who were recovering well. When I inquired about this mysterious doctor, the other physicians feigned ignorance of his identity, although they admitted he had been working there throughout the epidemic. I insisted to Dr. Whitmore that I needed to confront him directly, and I found him in a ward with 3 patients, one of whom was Mrs. Eleanor Bradshaw, my neighbour whom I had successfully treated a week prior. His protective gear was unlike anything I'd ever witnessed, complete with a metal mask featuring a beak resembling a bird's and dark glass lenses. When I demanded that he leave the hospital at once, he just stared at me, breathing heavily, which sent a shiver down my spine. He then walked out of the room slowly, never breaking eye contact with me. I examined the 3 patients after his departure. All showed the familiar plague symptoms. Unfortunately, they died within the hour before I could do anything. And now, my dear Antonio, I have received similar reports from physicians at Guy's Hospital and St. Thomas's. The same figure appears everywhere, and everywhere. Death follows in patterns that match your account. I morti cammina tra noi altri. These words now echo through London's hospitals. I fear we are doomed. October 5th, 1665. Dear Antonio, he came to me, as he came to you in your final hours. In my chambers, speaking through that mechanical apparatus he wears.
So you have seen truth,
He said,
You may serve truth, or be consumed by it.
I understand now why you wrote those final words. The choice is mine to make, but I know I will make it. I depart tomorrow for the Americas. There are opportunities in the colonial settlements for a physician willing to adapt. He has given me purpose and instructions. Your work continues, dear friend. The pattern must be preserved. If these letters somehow reach you in whatever realm awaits us, know that the dead do indeed walk among us, and soon I shall walk with them.
London Gazette, October 12th, 1665. It is reported that a physician of foreign birth has departed these shores for the Americas, leaving behind questions regarding his unusual methods and the curious circumstance that none among his colleagues could provide his Christian name.
This is Dr. Marco Ricci, WHO Emerging Pathogens Division. Today is October 19, 2019, 11:30. I'm at the Historical Archives of the National Library of Medicine. I finally located that 1990 paper by Mitchell, titled Anomalous Mortality Clustering in Historical and Contemporary Epidemics, a Comparative Analysis. Since it wasn't available in digital form, I had to ask for the physical microfilm version, which took them 2 days to find in their archives. I'm sitting here now, waiting for my hands to stop shaking enough to load the film into this ancient reader. Mitchell's methodology looks solid. She analyzed mortality clustering around specific healthcare providers across multiple epidemics spanning 4 centuries. Venice 1630, London 1665, Philadelphia 1793. She's documenting exactly what I've been finding. She describes healthcare providers who deviated from standard protocols, demonstrated unusual patient selection criteria, and achieved significantly higher mortality rates among treated patients. Patient selection criteria. That phrase again. In Congo, when I chose who got the vaccine first for the initial trial group, I told myself it was random. But Elena was selected because I trusted her to be a good test case. Mrs. Kimba because she was strong enough to survive if something went wrong. Patrice because I can't finish that thought. I won't. There's a section on contemporary cases. 1980s, Nigeria. 1985. And then... Oh, Christ! Congo, Democratic Republic, 1986. Ebola outbreak. Dr. M. Ricci, WHO epidemiologist. That's me. She's been studying me.
Experimental vaccine trial resulted in accelerated mortality among treatment group. Death rate among vaccinated subjects, 198% higher than control group receiving standard supportive care.
I'm listed right here, alongside centuries of what? Medical incompetence? Or something worse?
Historical and contemporary cases show remarkable consistency in behaviour profiles. Subject physicians demonstrate initial enthusiasm for their interventions, followed by increasing isolation from colleagues and eventual psychological deterioration characterized by guilt, paranoia, and in some cases, complete mental breakdown.
She's quoting my psychological evaluation. Subject insists vaccine failure was due to selection process rather than scientific error. Selection process. Did I use those words? I was trying to save them. The vaccine was supposed to work. I believed it would work. But there is something else here. Mitchell writes,
The psychological profile suggests these practitioners may unconsciously seek to control mortality outcomes, exhibiting behavior consistent with pathological altruism or medical sadism, masked as dedication to patient care.
medical sadism. Is that what I am? I'm home again. I've been drinking since returning from the archives, which probably isn't the wisest decision, but I don't care. There's an email from Liu in my inbox. The subject reads, "Any updates on your research?" I began drafting a response mentioning how he's got me chasing after phantoms through centuries of deceased doctors, how it's all nonsense, how I should be concentrating on genuine science instead of getting lost in historical fantasies. But then I paused and erased everything. Dr. Marco Ricci, October 20th, 2019, 8:30. I awoke this morning with a considerable headache and the distinct memory of having made some rather poor decisions regarding alcohol consumption. However, clarity has returned along with sobriety, and I find myself unable to dismiss what I discovered yesterday. The pattern Mitchell documented isn't random. Venice, 1630. London, 1665, Philadelphia, 1793, Spanish flu, 1918. These represent humanity's greatest pandemic crises, and if Liu's 7 cases in China are indeed following the same progression, then we're potentially witnessing the emergence of the next civilization-altering outbreak. I need to understand what happened in 1918. More specifically, I need to understand what caused this pattern to cease for over a century.
I've been researching military hospitals from the Spanish flu period, and I found something interesting. St. Mary's Military Hospital in rural Pennsylvania, constructed hastily in 1918 specifically for influenza treatment, then abandoned in 1920 when the pandemic ended. Unlike other facilities that were repurposed or demolished, St. Mary's was simply left to decay. Too remote, too expensive to maintain, which means the original records should still be there, untouched by decades of renovation or reuse. It's a several-hour drive from here, but I can make it there and back in a day. The facility has been abandoned for nearly a century. Security shouldn't be an issue. It's certainly worth investigating before I respond to Liu's email with empty reassurances. I'm standing outside St. Mary's Hospital now. The drive took longer than anticipated, but I'm here. The structure is larger than I expected. A sprawling complex of interconnected buildings, clearly designed for mass casualty treatment. Finding entry proved simpler than anticipated. A service door on the north side had been left partially open, likely by previous urban explorers or scavengers. According to the building directory I found near the main entrance, the administrative offices and archives were housed on the 3rd floor of the central building. The elevators are obviously non-functional, so I'm taking the stairs. Okay, I am in front of the archive room, behind a door marked Medical Documentation, Authorized Personnel Only. I've discovered exactly what I hoped to find. rows of filing cabinets and storage containers, most bearing labels from 1918 to 1920. But what's particularly interesting is a wooden crate in the corner, marked Medical Documentation Unit, 1918 to 1919, Dr. J. Thompson. Inside this crate, I found 7 film canisters and an old Bell & Howell projector. I can't believe this thing still works, but it does. The label on the first canister says, October 1918. Seems like the oldest one. The film starts up. There's this guy, probably Thompson, behind a desk. He's tall, looks like he's in his 40s, very military looking, and attitude.
Medical Report Unit 7, St. Mary's Military Hospital, October 15th, 1918. I'm Dr. Major James Thompson, commanding officer of this facility. We were established 6 weeks ago to handle the increasing cases of this influenza outbreak that's been spreading across the eastern seaboard. The Army Medical Corps has tasked us with documenting our treatment protocols and mortality rates for future reference. Currently, we have 247 active influenza cases, with 12 deaths in the past 24 hours. We're following standard treatment protocols, aspirin, supportive care, and quarantine procedures as outlined in Directive 15A.
He sounds exactly like I did in Congo. Professional, in control, believing in the protocols. But then he looks directly at the camera, and for a moment his expression changes.
These documentation films will be preserved for future reference for the physician who comes after me. Dr. Ricci, when you find these records, remember that some patterns span centuries.
Wait, did he say? I could have sworn he said my name. Let me rewind this. I run the film back and watch again. Thompson speaks the same words, but this time I hear,
for the physician who comes after me. Doctor who will understand the pattern that spans centuries.
No mention of my name at all, but I was certain. My hands are shaking as I load the rest of the films. The situation has deteriorated rapidly. Thompson's reporting over 500 cases now, and the camera work is getting shakier. He's moved to the morgue for this recording. Christ. Bodies are stacked like cordwood against the far wall. More than a dozen corpses in various states of decay. 4 orderlies work methodically, dragging the dead toward a massive incinerator. They're not treating them like human remains anymore, just fuel, throwing them in one after another like coal in a furnace. I can hear the crackling through the speakers, the sound of hair catching fire, of moisture boiling out of flesh. I should stop watching this. Every instinct is telling me to turn off the projector and leave this place, but I can't. The next one I have is dated November 18th, and something's changed. Thompson isn't filming from behind his desk anymore. He's holding the camera himself, no crew helping him, but something's off. He keeps looking over his shoulder and his hands are shaking.
Mortality rates continue to exceed all projections. The cases from the East Wing, they're not following normal disease progression. Dr. Ricci, you'll understand when you see the selection process. We choose them carefully, the ones who trust us most.
I slam the stop button so hard the projector shakes. My heart is pounding against my ribs like it's trying to escape. He said my name again, clear as day. This is impossible. These films are from 1918. Thompson died over a century ago. He can't know my name. He can't know I'm watching. But he's looking at the camera when he says it, looking directly at me.
This one will be perfect for the trial. She believes in medicine, in hope. That makes the disappointment more nourishing.
The woman in the bed looks so much like Elena. It makes me sick. November 18th film. Thompson is alone now, holding the camera himself. His breathing is audible, labored.
I'm not certain this documentation serves any official purpose anymore. Beati Dr. Ricci needs to understand the progression. The East Wing patients who were recovering, we found them walking the corridors at night, walking toward the morgue, not sleepwalking, walking with purpose.
He turns the camera toward a window. Outside, figures in hospital gowns move across the courtyard in single file, their movements too coordinated to be natural.
They're preparing the way. Each death makes the next easier. The pattern feeds on itself, as you discovered in Congo, as you'll perfect in China.
The final film is from December 8th. Thompson's back in the morgue, but it's different now. The bodies are gone, the incinerator cold and silent. The stone walls are bare except for surgical equipment, laid out in patterns that make no medical sense. Scalpels arranged in precise geometric shapes, bone saws positioned like ritual implements. And there, on the same table where they once stacked corpses for burning, there's a mask, not like anything I've seen before. Leather and metal, shaped like a plague doctor's beak, but wrong somehow. Too long, too angular, like it was made for a face that isn't quite human.
Dr. Ricci, I know you'll find this recording. I've left it here for you, in room 7. The pattern showed me your name long before you were born.
These films can't know when I'm watching them, can't know my specific timeline, but I know where room 7 is. I can see it in my mind. Down the corridor, past the old surgical suite, third door on the left. Or maybe I'm already standing here, my hand on the warm door handle. Everything feels like imagination now. Or maybe what I'm seeing now isn't room 7 at all, but the mask itself, leather and metal filling my vision, the beak too long, too angular. Everything blurs together. The projector light, the corridor, Thompson's voice still echoing, the door marked 7, the mask waiting inside. Are they all the same thing? Have they always been the same thing? My name is Dr. Marco Ricci, and I am ending this documentation. Whatever happens next, I don't think I should be recording it.
WHO Internal Memo. Date March 11th, 2020, from Dr. Liu Wei, Chinese CDC, to WHO Emergency Committee. Subject: Dr. Ricci's consultation period. Dr. Marco Ricci arrived in Wuhan on November 16th, 2019, to assist with our pneumonia cluster investigation. During his 3-month consultation, the outbreak expanded rapidly beyond our initial containment protocols. Dr. Ricci's patient selection criteria for experimental treatments proved highly effective at demonstrating the pathogen's transmission capabilities. His recommendations regarding which cases to prioritize for intensive care resulted in optimal viral mutation and spread patterns. Today, the WHO declared this outbreak a global pandemic. Dr. Ricci departed yesterday for an undisclosed location, citing completion of assignment. The 2 cases that began our investigation have become 118,000 confirmed infections worldwide. I fear we have been instruments in something far beyond our understanding.
And so, dear listeners, the Tattered Book closes on this tale of patterns older than memory, of servants who wear the faces of healers while serving darker masters. Dr. Marco Ricci found his calling in the abandoned corridors of St. Mary's Hospital, and the world felt the consequences within weeks. This concludes not only our tale of the Monatto, but also the final story of our first season. As we close this chapter of the Tattered Book, remember that some servants of death wear no uniform, carry no weapon, take no oath of allegiance to darkness. They simply answer when called, wearing the masks of salvation while guiding what must be guided. The pattern is eternal, and somewhere in the shadows between healing and harm, the next herald awaits their summons. Until we return for Season 2, may your nights be sleepless, your dreams unsettling, and your trust in those who claim to heal, carefully considered. If you dare to delve deeper into these eldritch mysteries, subscribe to our podcast, leave a rating and review, and whisper of our tales to others. Your engagement feeds the book, fueling the terrors yet to come. Until next time, and may your nights be sleepless and your dreams unsettling.